Hi, welcome to the Olly FINALLY YouTube channel. Today is day 3, 4, or 5, who knows, of my 1.6 liter to 1.9 liter ALH engine swap. My 1.6 liter tragically died of rod knock and long-term abuse, and so this is its replacement, which will hopefully survive better under the conditions I put it through. So, right now, this engine is basically ready to fire. As you can see, there's a timing belt on it, the fuel pump is timed, the motor is timed, everything is assembled and tight. I'm missing some fuel lines, I'm missing some oil plumbing, obviously, and it's not in the car. So, today, I have completed all my requisite tasks that I wanted to address while the engine was out. There's certain things that are just easier to do without an engine in your car, like redo your engine bay wiring, paint your engine bay, replace your steering rack, work on other wiring. So while this has been out and I've been fiddling with it, I've also been fiddling with the car a lot. I'll walk you through real quick what it looks like right now. Here we have the engine bay. It has been touched up paint-wise. I've completely wrapped and tucked my wiring harness, which looks much nicer. My steering rack, tie rods, boots, mounts, the whole bit is brand spanking new and installed and ready for some action. And I even took the time to install a brand new odometer oil pressure gauge, which should be more responsive while driving on the track and show me if I'm actually losing oil pressure on corners. While doing that, I also completely redid my wiring under the dash with fuses and the whole bit. From here, it still looks like crap, but I assure you it's much better than it used to be. So, with all of that completed, and that work went much faster with no motor to worry about, with all that completed, it is now time to put the motor back in its home. I think it's possible to actually first fire this thing this week. That doesn't mean it's going to run. It doesn't mean my cooling system will be finished. But I think it's possible that I could put this in the car today, hang it, get some hardware and oil I'm waiting on, run all my oil lines, get all that set up, and start and run the engine without coolant for a few seconds just to make sure everything works. So, that is the plan for the week, and the plan for today is to get this off the stand finally. This engine has lived on this stand for about an entire year now, and it's time it comes off. Today I will be taking this off the stand. We're going to be putting the clutch, flywheel, pressure plate, all that good stuff on it, and be mating it to its next transmission. And we'll be taking all that and sticking it in the car and adding oil to it, and we'll see. That's probably about as far as I'll get, but we'll find out. Off we go. Geez. So naturally my mic was off for that whole last bit, even though I wasn't intending it for it to be. So, to recap the highlights, clean your pressure plate and your flywheel thoroughly after you unbox them and before you install them. Use Loctite on all fasteners involved with the clutch and flywheel. torque the big 6 flywheel bolts to either 22 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees, or I've seen conflicting specs. There's also 75 foot-pounds if they have a shoulder. So I went with the 75 foot-pounds if they have a shoulder, because single torque specs make more sense to me than, like, you know, whatever plus 90 degrees. So I went with that, and then I torqued all my 9 bolts that go on the flywheel to the pressure plate at 15 foot-pounds, and you have to kind of evenly walk that thing down because it's putting on pressure. And those also need Loctite, and they are a slightly weird size. They are a 9mm 12-point star head. So if you get a 12.9mm socket, you'll be in good shape, but you probably don't have one. All right, and then as you put your pressure plate on, you walking that down, you use this tool here, this center tool, to keep your clutch disc aligned enough that when you go to put the transmission on, the transmission input shaft can slot into the splines of the clutch disc, and everything's gravy. Otherwise, if you don't use it, you'll try to slot this in, and then your bolt holes won't line up, or something will break, etc. And then I had to whack this down here with the hammer a bit. This pin didn't want to go into its hole, but it did. If something like this isn't going in on any transmission job, you want to make sure it goes in smoothly before you just crank everything else down, because it could easily crack something, probably your transmission. So it's all together. These 3 bolts are tight, and it looks good. And so now it's time to try to stick this in the car without any further ado. And we'll see how that goes. I've never tried before. I assume it's gonna be fine, but we'll find out. Teeny bit of brief reorientation, because currently we're slotted to put this engine in backwards the way it sits on the crane. Shoo, we can't do that. Okay, so this poly engine mount has been a bit of a royal bitch to get into place. So right now, I got the first half of the bolt in. I'm trying to get it all the way through. And as you can hear, it doesn't want any part in that. So, just kind of scoping this end of it, seeing what I can do. It's getting very close, though, I will say that. We need a little more. Just a little more. Oh my god, I actually fucking got it. That was such a struggle. We got it! Holy crap! Okay, so I'm gonna leave that loose. That was engine mount 1 of 4. That one's low-key the hardest sometimes, though. Now I'll get the transmission side together, and then the front and back are chill, and I think that's all we're doing for the day, is getting the motor in the body. Because that took so long. If I could do that again from the beginning, I think I would either try to expand or like sand the inside of my engine mount to be smooth, to avoid what just happened, or I would shorten that S&P pin a little bit, because that's pretty much what was being a problem. What was being a problem? Okay, this should be just as fun. That's a joke. Wow, look how easy that was. Nothing like a stock engine mount. Oh, geez. Okay. Tighten that up a little bit. Make sure it comes through. And I need to set it down still, but just eyeballing it, that looks not that dialed. Ah, jeez. Okay. So after all that fighting with it, you can see the engine is just like slanting this way. Like it's low on driver's side, lower than it is on the passenger side, which is again completely the fault of this new engine mount. I copied the 1.6 mounting, which would make sense because it puts it at the top. Like the hole in it is eccentric and the 1.6 is up here, but it looks like the 1.9s need to be down here. So this probably has to like come back out. Oh my word. Whew, okay, so we reloaded it. Actually, it went much smoother the second time. Crazy thought. So with the poly engine mount, I would fully lubricate that with just like some assembly grease or something. Just makes it way easier to slide around and get in its spot. And now the motor is sitting, you know, it might still be a little bit driver's side high, but it's not super noticeable at least. So it's much better now that it's on with that mount flipped around to be like an inch taller. So I like that a lot better. It's going to be really close to the hood, if the hood will even fit. Well, there you have it. It's in. I got lots of plumbing work left to do. I connected a few more things before this clip, but all the engine mounts are in, starter's in, everything's connected. So as far as gross fitment issues are concerned, there are none, which is great. So now it's just a matter of connecting everything. I think my approach is going to be to try to start it before the cooling system is fully set up. So that means I need to get my oil lines routed. I need to get my manifolds on, get the turbo on, get the oil system primed. And to start it, I also need fuel, so I gotta set my fuel lines back up. But other than that, we're looking pretty good. I'm freaking tired, so have a good one out there. Thanks for watching.